Podcast starts now. Hey. Hi. Welcome to StraightioLab. It's so amazing to be back on microphone.
It's so amazing to be on StraightioLab.
It's so amazing. You know, we do this weekly, sometimes twice a week.
Sometimes daily.
And, you know, it's so important to take time to be grateful.
Yeah.
So few people get to talk into a microphone and release it.
Increasingly more and more. But yeah, few relatively speaking.
There's still less that do speak than that don't.
I think at this point it's about 40% of people who do it on a regular basis, but that is still a minority.
Yeah,
that is still an oppressed group.
As a podcaster, we are vulnerable.
Yeah.
To laws in a way that no one else is.
In a way that most people are not.
Yeah, 60% of people.
60% people are not. And yeah, I mean, am I afraid of the upcoming election? Yeah.
Yeah, because it affects my livelihood.
My livelihood.
If we don't keep Biden in office, podcasting could be abolished.
Well, here's the thing, and this is where it gets complicated. Trump is better on podcasting. I don't agree with him on the vast majority of other issues. But when it comes to podcasting legislation, there's just no way around it. Like, he is better for the community. And this is where it gets complicated, because you're like, first of all, I am an LGBTQ plus American.
Let's start there.
I am an ally to various other communities. I am a proud progressive. Mm-hmm. I am someone who believes in universal health care.
Of course.
I am someone who believes in reproductive rights. Mm-hmm. But I'm also a podcaster.
And maybe even first.
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah. Am I a single issue voter on podcasters' rights?
Yeah. And I think these are conversations that people in our community are having behind closed doors all the time. And like, yeah, we're opening ourselves up to criticism by talking about it on mic. But then it's like, well, what are you going to do, half-ass it?
Well, and the fact of the matter is we need to speak up on our podcast in order to bring more awareness to podcasting and podcasters.
But of course, because we have a platform, it's dangerous to even talk. It's like, what if just in the process of us having this conversation, people are learning that Trump is more pro-podcasting, and then we're literally like making people vote the wrong way.
Right.
Because here's the real really complicated thing about all of this.
Okay.
There are more podcasters per capita in blue states. So if we raise awareness about the fact that Trump is more pro-podcasting, we could turn states red. And that could have detrimental effects on the nation.
It's true. But maybe you know that thing where people are like, why do like Republicans in rural areas vote against their own interests?
Ooh.
Maybe the podcasters in the blue states will still vote Democrat and vote against their podcasting interests.
I would love that. And you know what? I'll say it publicly. I'm voting for Biden. Are you? You don't want to talk about it right now?
Yeah, I don't really want to talk politics.
You're an undecided voter.
I'm undecided. I'm waiting to see what.
And guess what? You know, undecided voters talk about an oppressed minority. I mean, that is like, podcasters is one thing, but being an undecided voter.
I am actually obsessed with undecided voters, and I don't think we talk about it enough. They are so randomista.
They are the most random.
They are like imagine just not caring about anything and just being like, I don't know. Like, it's actually insane to be like, what is going on?
Okay, but you know what though? In some ways they are iconic, because it's like when you are paying attention so much that, let's say you turn on a presidential debate.
Sure.
Literally everyone is just spewing bullshit at one another.
Of course.
Nothing is, no one is expressing an actual authentic opinion. No one is saying anything that is like, in terms of a first order, like discourse. Nothing is discursively true or false. It's just like bullshit both ways. Mm-hmm. So I actually think it is a normal response to watch that and then be like, yeah, I don't know. I'm coming up blank, y'all.
I'm coming up blank, y'all. I think what it is, maybe what you're pointing to, what's so powerful about the undecided voter, the randomista, is how present they are. They turn on the TV and they say, Like, this is all I am intaking is what I am literally seeing.
Totally.
I'm not thinking about the past or the present, or no, I'm not thinking about the past or the future. I'm only in the present thinking about what I'm watching them say on TV.
Right.
And so then they're like, well, I don't know.
Or they're like, they're actually so smart that they know most of the things being talked about will not affect them directly. And so they're like, yeah, I watched those 4 debates. I still don't know if like they're gonna charge me extra for guac at Chipotle when I go if Biden is elected.
Sure. The undecided voter and the podcaster,
Right.
as communities.
2 peas in a pod.
And yet so opposite.
And yet opposites.
Because thank you for changing your opinion instantly.
And as I was saying, they're opposites.
They're complete opposites, because a podcaster's entire job is to have an opinion and be decided in it.
Right.
Even if it's something that is
So true.
so wrong.
Like I just did.
Yeah. It's literally just be like, no, I'm making a choice.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're talking about carrots. I think carrots are good because blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's completely made up. They probably don't actually feel that way, but they had to have something
Totally.
to talk about. And so they had to have an opinion.
Yeah.
Whereas an undecided voter is actually being like, I'm going to think, I'm going to reflect, and I'm not going to podcast.
Oh my God. God forbid an undecided voter ever started a podcast.
Oh
they
my
would never
God.
land on a single point. They would just be, it would be literally the definition of, what is it called? Dialectical thinking. It would be like 1 point, then counterpoint, then another point, and then counterpoint.
Oh my God. I mean,
It could be revolutionary.
it could be game changing.
People could learn a new way to think in a more nuanced way.
They would bring nuance to podcasting.
Yeah, and maybe even to electoral politics.
Well, then I actually think, we need to stop lifting up LGBTQ plus voices, and we need to start lifting up UNDECIDED voices. Did I spell it right?
I thought you were going to do like UV undecided voter, but you decided to just spell undecided whole cloth.
I thought that would be sort of a fun mirror.
Yeah. No, it is fun. It is fun.
But then it got kind of difficult. I'm not good at spelling things out loud.
I think you did a really wonderful job.
Thank you. I think we will. I actually will need to listen back. Did I nail it?
Yeah. Our spelling judge says yes. Well, I think, So to recap, I am voting for Biden. You're undecided, and both are valid.
And both are valid. Okay, I'm trying to think like if an undecided voter hosts a podcast, like I want to like if the topic is carrots,
Yeah.
and an undecided voter was at the helm of our podcast,
Right. Okay. Yes. Go on.
so it would be like, I don't know. It'd be like, okay, this is
Yeah.
me. This is undecided voter. Carrots are weird.
Yeah.
They could be straight. But maybe it's gay. What do you guys think?
Okay, but here's what I think is I think obviously whatever, we're doing a bit about how undecided voters are smart. Obviously, everyone has to vote Democrat. Okay. But the thing with undecided voters is not that their minds are so evolved that they can see past everything. It's that I think there's some synapses missing where they are processing things like in a more postmodern way, where it's like someone will be like, oh, this candidate is pro universal healthcare, this candidate is anti universal healthcare, and then the follow up question will be like, so what does that mean for my lunch break? Like it's like the synapses are firing wrong. So you like misunderstand fundamentally what a topic is about. So it's like if the topic is carrot, then they'll be like, well, like a carrot you eat.
Wow, we are actually absolutely,
You know what I mean?
destroying undecided voters.
Okay, I'm sorry. I understand that these are.
I heard it loud and clear. If you're an undecided voter, you have synapses missing.
But and by the way, you know who else had synapses hitting it sort of in the wrong places? Every great artist.
Wow.
Picasso.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not a bad thing to have a sort of non-traditional mind.
Picasso famously had synapses
Picasso
missing.
famously had synapses
That's
missing.
what problematic is about.
That's what problematic is about. And yeah, some of the missing synapses resulted in really beautiful art. Some of them resulted in him being an asshole.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's my point, sort of. I think they are the postmodernists of voters. Like, they're thinking about everything in a very different, out-of-the-box way.
Wow. So in a different time, they would maybe be oracles.
Exactly. They would be the Oracle from 300, who's sort of like Grimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's amazing.
I love that.
Should we bring in our guest?
I think we should. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are currently sitting in a studio. Sam is next to me, and Sam has an iced coffee in front of him. And I'm having this vision, this like fantasy of like us being so close that I could just like always take a sip of your coffee.
Whoa.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a very specific thing that's like, it's like when in a movie, two people are like comfortable with one of them being like in the bath and the other one sitting on the toilet.
Well,
like,
it's very HBO
sharing
girls.
a cigarette.
It's very girls.
Yeah, where it's like you're like, oh, it seems so easy, but even though I have all these close friends that I'm so intimate with, I don't think I could ever do that.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I'm not a great sharer.
Totally. And guess what? Neither am I. And if the shoe was on the other foot, I would not want you to be like grabbing my coffee and putting it in your slobbery mouth. But it is just, it's something to think about. Like,
It's something to think about.
it feels very cinematic to be like, oh yeah, my best friend. We share everything.
Yeah. Well,
But unfortunately,
that's
we're
a
not there yet.
That's a fantasy. I think we should bring in our guest. She is, we realized, has been with the podcast since before the beginning.
Since before the beginning. She did one of the lost episodes. When we did,
And there are only two.
Two?
Yeah.
We did 2 episodes that were sort of a test run that we didn't release because we just like were not there yet conceptually, through no fault of our guest, by the way.
Oh God, no. Well, she could have been a little better.
Listen, she was not good, and that's why we didn't release it.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly, we were actually talk about firing on all synapses.
Not a single synapse.
Not a single synapse missing, Howney. And so she did one of our last episodes. Mm-hmm. Then she did a Zoom episode.
Yeah.
Then she did a live show, and now she's recording with us live in Midtown in the Red Room.
Yeah.
And she is the only person ever that can say that in the history of the podcast.
Well, we could say it.
That is true. So in that way, she is the third best of the people in the room. Anyway, please welcome Amy Zimmer.
Hi, boys.
Hi, Aim.
You know, I'm so glad there's cameras recording this dynamic that we have.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah, you know, I'm really glad we're bringing it all to the table today because I feel like this kind of fun contention has kind of been a part of us for so long.
Do you feel like
I was the best part of the last episode. I was by far the best part. I was riffing on all cylinders.
No, it actually, the thing is, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will stand up for myself today.
No, and that is true. Because at the time, I think we had not learned how to be hosts yet. So in fact, we
and
were.
just common courtesy, like manners, like looking me in the eye, saying, "How are you?" Things like that.
We were being actively rude.
Yeah.
We couldn't. Neither of us could remember your name. I kept calling you
Kelly.
Annie.
I remembered Kelly.
Kelly.
Yeah.
I kept calling you Kelly.
And we were like pretending like we didn't even invite you in. We kept sort of being like, "Who is this? And why does she keep talking?"
And you didn't notice my blowout. I came with a blowout.
Yeah.
You looked honestly kind of insane.
Yeah. But you didn't say anything.
No,
but I'm glad your like filler has gone down.
No, it's fine. And happy Pride. Yeah.
And let me just say something, Kelly. Your face looks really good. Everything is settling in really well.
Oh my God.
Your
Bill,
face is firing all synapses.
Yeah.
I honestly, while you were talking about the undecided voter, I couldn't help but identify with sort of conceptually the person you were talking about.
Wow,
Yeah.
what spoke to you about it?
Well, no.
Indecision.
Guess what? but it's a very you're an artist. It's an artistic brain.
Thank you. And that it was connected to sort of like a vague prophecy or a
Totally.
You know?
Well, that it's like you can have an artistic brain just applied to the wrong thing. Like, guess what? It's actually very important that we vote for the right people because then we can move society forward
and do the wrong things.
Right. Well, yes. I mean, don't get me started, but you know, generally speaking, of course, let's say there is you're voting between someone that is moving the world forward and someone who is moving the world backward. You want to vote for the former. But then if you have an artistic mind, you're like, but what if we remix it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, what if it could be sort of fun to go backwards in like a postmodern kind of way?
Well, I want to be a part of something big.
Exactly.
Well, you know, when you were talking too, I was also remembering the famous undecided voter from 2016, but forgot his name, and I was in my head said, "Well, look at Ron Glass."
Look at Ron Glass. What is his name?
Ken Bone.
Ken Bone.
I can't
and you
believe
look at Ron Glass and you say,
Yeah.
"He changed history." You know?
I mean, Ken
Ron Glass.
Ron Glass.
Man, I love his early work.
Yeah. And you know, you get older and you do pare things down creatively.
Right.
But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, he had the glass.
He had the Denver tapes.
He had the Denver tapes, and no election will take that
No
away.
election will take that away, even though it did sway people to the right.
Yeah.
That year. But
I'm like, actually bringing up Ken Bone is truly frightening.
yeah.
Like, I'm like,
talk about straight culture.
talk about straight culture and like
Yeah.
internet meme culture was like, I think that was like maybe its peak, but like it's starting to
The beginning
die.
of hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then
the sweater,
also-
didn't the
Yeah,
sweater
The
sell
sweater
out?
went viral.
All the clothes selling out? Maybe
But
that's
also
the
the
thing.
fact was Ken Bone in 2016.
Yeah.
Right. So like the idea that this guy that everyone is like, haha, is literally undecided between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, and everyone's like, okay, go off, random slay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just gently at a microphone, and
Yeah.
people are like, whoa, I gotta get that.
They're like, that's star power right there. That's star power.
He's gonna be here a long time, Ron Glass.
Ron Glass.
Wrong glass. It also was this sort of like, and I'm not saying it's post-Trump comedy is better by any means, but it's the sort of pre-Trump thing where like it was okay to just make fun of. Like I feel like even just a few months later, people would be like, "That's not funny. He is complicit."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was
Scroll
like,
back, they got a
Yeah.
Ron Glass tweet.
They got you scroll back, they're like, Ron Glass is actually kind of hot.
Yeah,
Retweet if you agree.
Exactly.
You look at their Instagram, they're Ron Glass for Halloween.
Ron Glass for
Yeah.
Halloween.
And you're like, Kelly.
Like, Kelly.
Kelly.
Kelly, stop.
Kelly, your cheeks looking sing,
Kelly,
girl.
let it settle. Kelly,
settle.
let it settle. Give it a month.
You know what I was thinking would be a fun trend for faces is if, speaking of letting it settle, is
Sure.
if there was a trend to have multiple parallel eyebrows, one on top of the other.
Oh,
I
that would be
love that.
nice.
Don't you think that's
I
sort of
love
fun?
that.
Yeah.
I feel like
They're
it could
doing
be
that
like,
with the eyeliner. They're doing that with the eyes. You've
Oh,
seen this.
you see-
You've seen this?
oh,
You've seen this.
You guys heard about this? They're doing it with the eyes. You guys heard about
They're
this?
doing
you guys
it with
seen
the
this?
eyes.
You guys seen this? They're doing a line over the eye.
And I say two brows.
I say two brows.
So I'm watching the news the other night. You guys hear about this? They're doing another line. They're doing it with the eyes.
That's how, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Feeling at home. Feeling at home.
That's the future of media with no monoculture is like a Jay Leno figure doing jokes about makake trends on TikTok.
It's
I mean,
the
you hear about
only-
this? You see about this on TikTok? They're doing another line.
And that's the only future where I'm safe.
Yes, literally. Yeah. I mean, talk about remixing.
Well,
Yeah.
and I have to say, before we started recording, Amy was sort of trying to tell us about topics, and she was
Yeah.
like, well, like girls drinking water. And we were both like, what?
Yeah, and you were like, you haven't seen this huge
You haven't seen the
trend.
videos of the girls drinking
Yeah.
stuff? And
There's
we
a
were
lot
like,
of physical violence after I said that. I just want to say to the listeners.
Well, but this is
A
my
lot of
experience
physical
with
violence.
anything I'm learning about recently. It's like, I'll see a headline and it's like, how Mr. Beast became the single most popular man to ever live, including Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, never heard of him.
I'm so glad you put Nazareth in there.
Yeah, thank you. 'Cause I was like, wait, is that Jesus Christ of...
Of
Of
Sedona?
Schenectady?
Of Sedona?
Wait, I know Jesus Christ, but I think he's West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, it would be really fun if there was a West Coast Jesus Christ in addition to
Oh,
the East Coast.
I think
my
Jesus Christ is
God.
fundamentally West Coast.
You're right, long
Well, his
hair.
vibe is Cali.
We can't even go
They should do
there,
an East
honestly.
Coast one, then that's more clean cut.
Yeah.
And it's like preppy, and it's like
yeah,
Northeastern.
Abercrombie.
Yeah, like playing rugby.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
rugby-based
Rugby
Jesus.
Jesus.
Rugby Jesus.
Talk about a good Halloween costume.
That's that
Even better than Ken
it's
Bone.
so easy. Yeah, it's low concept. Everyone gets
Just-
it.
You're
It's
wearing a rugby
Jesus.
shirt and you're just holding your arms in the.
And
In
it's
the
like,
Any
so
questions?
who are you?
board shorts.
Who are
Plaid
you?
board shorts.
Oh, I'm Rugby Jesus.
Okay.
I just want to say.
Cool. Awesome.
I'm Kendall Roy.
I just want to
and
say.
I'm Kendall Bone.
Yeah.
This is official that on Halloween I want listeners to dress as Rugby Jesus.
If you please, listeners, if you're out there, I know you don't know me, but I need you to dress up as Rugby Jesus. My name is Kelly.
I just got a lot of
I'm
work done.
5'6". I just got a blowout. If you can please notice it, it would mean so much to me. I swear to God, I really need
You
this.
have upwards of 5
I
eyebrows
have
on each.
6. I have upwards of 6 eyebrows. They're elegant. They're tapered. Some of them are fluffy too.
And some people are doing it with the eyes.
Yeah, and you've heard
Some
this.
people you're doing
and
it
you've
with
seen
the
this
eyes.
on the news.
I want Rugby Jesus Christ with sort of stunning eye makeup, like
Yeah.
like
And
Euphoria
how
eye
easy
makeup.
is that?
And how
For my
easy
good
is
friend
that?
Dinah Garden.
To quote my good friend Ina Garden, I do think it would be a slay if Jesus was like Barbie style, where there were like different
God, that is
styles.
Why
Such a
wasn't
good
Jesus in the
idea.
Barbie movie?
Why
Oh my
wasn't
God.
Jesus in the Barbie movie?
I haven't seen it. It hasn't come out yet, but why isn't he in there? I mean, if we're talking about world building,
Has the country gone mad?
Yeah.
where's Jesus in
It's a
this?
Mattel. It's a
pink.
Mattel.
Last time I checked, it's pink,
I'm sorry, this is America.
which is deeply Catholic. I'm Jewish, but I've heard it's.
You're Jewish, but you know where
I know how these things go. Jesus is pink, and rugby is God.
And Barbie is Catholic.
And Barbie's Catholic.
What do you think Barbie's religion is?
I really hope it's Buddhist.
You think so?
Oh.
That's how
You don't
she's
like
so
that?
centered enough.
I don't think she's too materialistic.
No,
to be
but I think
honest.
I'm feeling like she moves through life with a passivity that is close to enlightenment. You know what I mean? All the materialism comes to her. She doesn't seek it out. The heels are put on her. The cars are given.
That's very true. That's very
You
true.
know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
No, you're so right. And
Her hair is brushed, and
her
she
ability to
maintains.
accept.
She sits under the tree, the Buddhist tree.
Right.
and
Well, she's sort of
receives.
Sharon Stone in that way. It's like Sharon Stone is a
She's
Buddhist.
deeply Sharon Stone.
But Sharon Stone also just like all these material goods are forced upon her. Like every
she's
time
like,
she gets
"What is
mail,
this?
it's like
What's the
something free
use?"
from Burberry, and she's like, "Yeah,
This is
like
nothing.
I'll wear it or
Yeah.
whatever." But
and
that's-
it maybe in the way she practices, acceptance is incredibly privileged or something.
Yeah.
But I do think Barbie's trying to parse out where we, what is meaningful and what is the endless wheel of suffering.
Wow.
I think that's absolutely true. I think it is.
Did you hear that? Are you guys getting this? Kelly, 5'6", blow dry bar.
No one's noticing.
I got threads.
Oh my God.
I really like this sort of concept of Barbie being someone in the midst, at any given time, in the midst of like essentially figuring out the meaning of life.
I think the movie, if Jesus isn't in it, I'm praying to God that it's focusing on that.
You're praying to Christian God.
Christian
Yeah.
God? Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
I've already talked to Jewish God about it.
And honey, it's not good
honey,
news.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, that definitely
so
puts a
interesting.
different spin on Barbie.
You know, it's interesting. Everyone is obsessed with Barbie right now because of the movie or whatever, and I'm like, no one's having interesting conversations about Barbie. Like,
No, you're
what
totally
religion
Not
right.
is
like
she?
this.
Like, what
No,
religion
it
is she? Is she materialistic?
What religion do you think she is?
I think. Well, unfortunately, I do think she's Christian.
Yeah.
Actually, Barbara
Whoa.
could be a variety of things. Barbara Streisand
Barbara
is
could
Jewish.
be Jewish. It
I
could
think
be
she
true
is-
she's Jewish, but
I
it's
think she's
hard.
maybe Jewish.
She would be a Buddhist Jew, which is,
Yeah.
close to me.
Yeah. Very U-coded.
Yeah. Yeah, Barbie's kind of me-coded.
Yeah.
I think I was gonna say she's Episcopalian.
You think so?
Pentecostal?
Well, see,
'cause
you're
she-
being very optimistic in that, and as am I, by the way, by saying she's Jewish. We're both like, well, it's a given that she's progressive, so she's either Episcopalian or Jewish or like Catholic.
This is the big question.
But
is Barbie
Is
progressive?
exactly, and I think that
I feel like there's no way around it, folks. Yeah.
she is.
She is.
Yeah, I almost like wanted to pretend that she wasn't because there
She might not be your hero.
right,
You know?
but she's progressive.
She might have had problems with Bernie.
Oh yeah, no,
And,
she definitely
you know,
hates Bernie Bros.
Yeah, she hates Bernie Bros.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
And she also does think you need to get out your ass. Get
Get out your ass, folks. She does say you have to get out your ass and work.
Get out your
People
ass.
don't
I'm
care
Barbie,
about
and I'm
ass
telling
and
you to
work.
get out your ass and vote.
And vote. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Skipper is
Episcopal. I
all
could
right.
see. Yeah,
What?
Skipper's all
Skipper is
right.
fully
Yeah.
like a reactionary. Skipper is easily fooled, and Skipper is quite frankly trying to get a job as like the token woman in an alt-right like YouTube network.
And Skipper's on organ meats. Nothing but organ meats. Red
Yeah.
meat diet.
Oh.
No, totally.
Oh.
She's absolutely.
I was sort of like
You
I was
were
like
Too high
imagine, like-
concept for you?
I was like, okay, so she plays the organ and like meets up with other
Oh,
people.
I was
who play
like,
the
I
organ.
thought you were like,
She
oh,
does
they're
that
like.
too, and it's really problematic.
I thought you were like, oh, they're from Oregon, from a small farm in Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all sort of wrong on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, and that's all right.
That's
And
all
that's
right.
all right.
And that's all right.
And that's all right.
And it is
Seriously.
there is a sort of their friendship is going through a rough period. It was kind of like when all those like Democrat rich New York women were like, please write to Ivanka and tell her to stop this.
That's where a lot of friendships were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
divested.
crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Wow. Let's take a beat for that.
Remember Free Melania?
Sam, will you sing the national anthem?
Sam, please. And by the national anthem, we do mean Sign from Above
Yeah.
by Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
When I was young.
I prayed for lightning.
That's how we know the pandemic really hurt us. You know what I mean?
You know what I
The
did
emotional state.
last night, which is insane actually to say out loud, is I watched Gaga's
5'2".
VMA's COVID performance.
Oh.
Where she's like wearing the mask with
Oh, I
Ariana
remember.
Grande and performing to like fake audience noise.
Yeah.
I would rather be in the middle of a fire that was burning me alive than do that.
I was really like, wow. Like the way that is in the past
Yeah.
is so
firmly,
weird.
Firmly.
Because it's like, I remember this and it feels like watching something from the 50s.
Yeah.
Like you're like, so they really did this
Yeah. So people were really, they had to laugh tracks.
for
you
a
know?
concert.
Yeah, for a concert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, I think we're going to want to do our first segment.
Remember when everyone was whatever?
No, say it.
Just like the politics of like, you heard that a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend went to the Hamptons during lockdown. And then everyone was like, we have to get the word out. They went to the Hamptons.
Kill them.
Kill them now.
And Skipper was out.
And Skipper was out.
Skipper
out.
was partying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the party. Like that the people that were like sort of like flamboyantly going to parties.
Yeah.
And it was like the new counterculture.
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy also is that our very podcast is a piece of pandemic culture.
100%.
Yeah, it started in.
It started
100%.
in it, which is just insane.
In fact, our lost ep
was
is like
pre-pandemic.
very shortly.
Yeah.
like a month before.
Yeah, a month before.
Ruh-roh. Let's do our first segment.
What if you listen to it and we're like, wait, we all sound so much more intelligent than we do now. Like we don't even realize
my
how much
God.
the pandemic
Talk
has
about
ruined.
synapses.
It's like, yeah, we think of it as like, oh, it wasn't there yet, blah blah. We listen to it, we're literally geniuses.
Yeah.
And now all we can talk about is Lady Gaga Sign from Above.
Which is what we did in the last episode I was on.
literally.
Yeah. Well, we talked about Rain on Me. It had just been released.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
We really needed your perspective.
Amy, the time has come
Oh my
for
God.
our first segment,
Yeah.
which is called Straight Shooters.
I'm familiar.
I'm not even gonna disrespect you by explaining to you what it is.
I know, listeners, what it is.
And I will start.
But should you explain it to the listeners just in
listeners.
case?
Oh, I would
listeners.
actually. Should
Kelly,
I do
Kelly,
it?
do you want to do it?
Sure. Thank you, Branson. So, listeners, if you're listening, again, my name is
Listeners,
Kelly.
if you're listening, great start.
Listeners, if you're listening.
Are you gonna bully me through it on our iHeartRadio podcast? Is that what's happening? Are the Goliaths bullying the David here?
Huh?
Huh.
That wasn't in Catholic
Listeners,
Bible with,
listeners.
with the rugby Jesus.
Listeners, if you're listening to me, my name's Kelly, and our first segment is called Straight Shooters. Straight Shooters is where Sam and George make up some little fucking thing. They make up some little fucking thing to say to me, and I decide which one I want to say. And we decide if it's straight culture or not. You've listened before. You know what it's like. You know these two are trouble. But that's all I'll say. My name's Kelly.
That was really good, Kelly.
Kelly, that was amazing.
Thank you.
By the way, did you do something with your hair?
No.
Kelly, one of your eyebrows is falling off.
Okay.
Okay.
That's Kelly. Takes it all lying down. Okay.
Kelly sounds kind of like a Barbie figure.
My wedding is next month, and I'm like really scared of.
Oh my God, an introvert bride? That's
Let's
amazing.
talk about that.
Let's talk about
An
that.
introvert
That's
bride?
basically
Oh
my
my
whole
God.
life.
Well,
Not
yeah,
Wait.
it's always your wedding day.
Thank you.
There needs to be a movie about an introvert bride.
Listeners, I call dibs on that. So if
You
anyone's
could
listening
star
to
in it.
thank you.
We get 10%.
What
You
is-
could star in it, but you can't direct.
Yeah, I can't direct. Obviously, I'm like, I thought this was a bra. Listeners, I was holding up the headphones. Saying,
You want
I
to do it
thought
for the
this-
camera?
I thought this was a bra.
That's so Kelly.
That's so Kelly.
Enough.
Enough.
Okay, Kelly.
Okay, Kelly, are you ready to play?
Let's ride.
Dun, dun, dun,
Dun, dun, let's ride.
dun, dun, dun. Okay, Amy Zimmer. Cat in the Hat, The Cat's Pajamas, or Puss in Boots?
Puss in Boots.
Late capitalism or early admission?
Early admission.
Being felt up by your beau or being gassed up by your bro?
Felt up by your bow.
Discovering yourself while studying abroad or uncovering your fiancé committed fraud?
Uncovering your fiance committed fraud.
The Japanese concept of kintsugi or the Gen Z concept of chugi?
That's good.
Chugi.
Yeah. Listening to Sondheim or listening to a song by Haim?
Ooh, Sondheim.
Wow.
And finally, Amy.
Wow. We talked about jokingly forgetting her name, and now we are so confused by the Kelly-Amy dynamic that we are.
That's what pandemic did.
Kelly. Being uninformed about Brexit or being uniformed and it's sexy? This is a tough one.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough.
Being uninformed about Brexit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
At the end of the day.
Sure.
Being,
Whatever happened with that?
well,
Well, now
they're
that we
leaving
know
the
about
EU.
it, Sam. Well, Sam, now that you know about it, you
Sam,
can
why
explain.
don't you explain?
Sam, why don't you explain?
So they did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're literally
Right,
leaving
they
the
did
EU.
it.
But they're leaving? They haven't left
No,
yet?
it's bad. There have been like widespread repercussions.
So they left.
Yeah.
You're being really Kelly right now.
You're being so Kelly.
You're being Kelly right now. And I honestly pray for you.
Just seems like they were leaving for a long time, and it was sort of like, whatever happened with that?
Well, it's like chaos. They've had like 3 prime ministers in the past year.
Hello.
And you know, the latest one, Biden didn't even pronounce his name right. Anyway,
Oh, man.
How did he say it? How's it supposed to be said?
Biden.
he said Biden.
He said, I am Joe Biden.
He said, I am Joe Biden.
And it was kind of like a Kennedy moment when he said, I've been Berlin or whatever. He said,
Oh my God.
I'm Biden.
Yo soy Biden.
Yo soy Biden. And that's what he said to the Prime Minister of the UK. And then the Prime Minister of the UK was like,
We're leaving.
okay. Yeah, so
And then-
we're still,
and then-
we're going to go ahead with Brexit.
And then
Yeah.
Biden was like, well, have you left yet? Or
He's
are
on
you
his
still
phone.
leaving?
Where are you? He's outside the club. Where are you?
My impression of Brexit is them being like, okay, we're going to go.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
okay,
they're
then
like,
go.
Wait,
and then
that
the
is
EU
such a
was
good
like,
point.
Fine.
Yeah, it's like, then go.
That's
and
such
they're
a-
like,
yeah.
yeah, we're going to.
Because at first, when they said we're going to go, the EU was like,
Okay.
mad because at first they didn't want them to go. They were like, "What are you talking about? You just got here. We haven't even sang happy birthday yet.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact, this is literally a surprise party, and like the person hasn't even walked in yet.
Yeah.
You're being actually insane. You came, you had like 1 pint,
And you put
British,
s-
and then you're gonna leave immediately.
Right.
And then they kept being, we're gonna go. The party's going. At this point, it's been like 3 hours. Like, yeah, you can leave if you
Yeah.
want. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, and they keep going around and being like, we are going to leave soon.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
That's true.
okay.
They're going to Spain. They're going to Italy. They're going to like, I was going to say
Maybe
Morocco.
Germany even?
No. Germany. Well, yeah.
Germany even?
So that's our impression of Brexit pretty
Yeah.
much.
Germany's like, Auf Wiedersehen.
Say that. Talk about that. Yeah.
Oh,
But then being uniformed, but it's sexy was the other choice. Do you feel like it's more problematic to be uninformed about Brexit or find a man in a uniform sexy?
More problematic.
Yeah.
I think
they're equal.
Finding a man in uniform sexy
Is
is
more
problematic.
problematic.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say.
What about a woman?
No, that's
Oh,
progressive.
That's progressive, and yes.
To find a woman in a uniform sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cadet Kelly.
Because you
Oh my
were-
God. Is that what you were named after?
Loosely based around events in my life.
That was from when you were in the podcast troops.
Yeah. I had one called Girls, Get Your Numbers.
Ooh. You just give each girl guest a number.
Yeah, a
at
girl would
random.
come on.
You'd
That
be
was
like,
your
12.
Come
that
get
was your
number.
podcast?
Yeah. We'd have guests
interesting.
on and talk about kind of dating trouble, and then
Yeah.
I'd give them a number.
And then you raised awareness about numbers.
12.
12.
You know?
That's so 12.
That was your catchphrase. 12.
Girls, get your numbers.
Girl, get your numbers on.
Mm, oh, I love
Exactly.
that.
Do you remember when I did Straight Shooters to you? Do you think the listeners know about that?
Not only did you do that, but since you've done that, we now encourage people to do that at live shows.
Oh, so
And yeah. So we stole
so
it.
is there a plaque? Is there a Hollywood Star Walk of Fame? Like, is
we
there
should
a water
rename.
bottle?
I guess
can
we
have?
should. We can rename the segment Amy Zimmer presents Straight Shooters.
That would be great because I have been directing so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
good
it's-
at directing live shows for film.
For film,
it doesn't translate.
yeah, it becomes like this impressionistic, diaristic.
It's overwrought,
crazy. It's
a lot of wide
overwrought.
shots.
It's like muddying, and there's these flashbacks and a lot of dogs in
You
it.
love non-linear storytelling.
Yeah,
to a
and I'm
fault.
always saying it's the feminine narrative, and people are like, it doesn't make sense, honey.
Exactly. You're like feminist epistemology, and they're like, yeah, but what is this character, and when were they introduced?
Yeah, and I'm like, they remember the war, and they're like, which war? And I'm like, shut up.
You're like, it's not about that. It's not about which
that.
war.
Yeah,
It's
about
about
how
the
she
war
feels.
as Kelly's lens for how her eyebrows should look.
Exactly.
And the settling, and how she settles over the course of a 3-act structure.
Because the war is the war, but the war is internal as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kelly knows.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy. I'll see you guys.
Should we get into the topic?
Yeah.
Wow, hush came over the room when
Well,
do you want to explain why the hush maybe came over the room?
wow.
Okay, again, a hostile tone.
Really hostile.
That was scolding.
There's a really interesting hostility considering how I've carried multiple episodes on my back. But outside, we were talking and I brought up a couple different topics.
Yeah.
And much like the undecided voter, I would say I wasn't sure which one to pick.
You were undecided.
You were
I was
undecided.
undecided, and I think, multiple things could be discussed over the course of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to lead with the one I didn't come in with, but I think we'll talk about all of them.
Yeah.
But, for this moment in time, I want to say dairy.
You're going to say dairy up top.
That's the one we were hoping for.
That's definitely the one we were hoping for.
Yeah.
We sidebarred.
Do you find that you are usually swayed by men telling you what to do?
Listeners, I want you to hear the hostility, the violence enacted today, because to have a witness is so important.
Yeah, Katy Perry taught me that.
Oh, you listen to Katy Perry, but not Kelly. Oh,
Kelly-
so you respect
Kelly
Katy
who?
Perry and
Wait,
not
Kelly makes music?
Kelly
No,
Clarkson?
Kelly doesn't make music. Look, I say dairy.
You say dairy.
I say dairy,
And
but
you
I
made
did.
the right choice.
Yeah, the other topic, if it's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think it's interesting?
I think it's interesting.
Totally.
I came in and I said Pacific Rim. And Sam and George, it was, do you know, and this is an action movie trope, but do you know when someone's hit by a ballistic missile and in a movie there's just sort of like the, that was sort of what happened. They went into a state of shock and paralysis, and I thought, okay, abandon
The
Pacific
camera got
Rim.
shaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tried to do something that made them feel more comfortable, which is dairy.
Yeah. Well, for the
What
record,
was it about Pacific Rim that made us?
Because it's legitimate in so
It's
many
legitimate,
ways.
of course. It destabilized us.
Well, I think it was more of like I have seen the film Pacific Rim, but it's been a long time. And so it was sort of like, I don't know what I can bring to this discussion specifically.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off of that, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. And I just saw it on a plane.
So that was sort of interesting.
It is interesting that you chose to watch it on a plane in 2023.
Well, I didn't have a lot of options, and I also watched West Side Story, but you didn't ask me that.
What kind of plane were you on that had very few options and yet one of them was Pacific Rim?
One of the best planes there are. How about that?
How
I won't
about that?
comment.
Yeah, it's interesting that you did. I feel like Pacific Rim and West Side Story are in conversation with one another because they're both choreography based.
Yeah,
But
they
in
are.
different, one is like in a more masculine way and one is in a more.
I mean, I really felt the raw masculinity in both films, I have to say.
Wow.
And I had never seen West Side. I'm not going into West Side Story.
Yeah, and you
but
saw the remake or the old one?
I saw the remake, the Spielberg.
Yeah.
And I had never seen West Side Story all the way through,
Uh-huh.
and I had no idea it was like that.
What'd you think it was like?
I didn't think the end. I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah,
Everyone except me has seen West Side Story.
You think it's darker than you expected?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought everyone sang basically, and I
Well,
thought that meant a happy end.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting. We were very briefly mentioning Sondheim before, and as you know, I am discovering Sondheim late in life.
I did too. Did you know this?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. And actually, you were one of the people that inspired me to go down that rabbit hole because I respect your tastes a lot, despite my behavior during this
Despite
episode.
today. Thank you.
And you you wrote when he died, you had some sort of post that was like, I'm sorry I didn't get it until now, but now I do, or something like that. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a very moving tribute.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
And I was like, okay, if Amy can discover Sondheim in her 30s, so can I.
Okay, wow.
Wow. Well, I haven't spent any time with him, so sorry. Stop looking at me. Everyone's looking at me
Well,
like,
Sam.
so what are you going to say about him?
You know what Sondheim loved? Dairy products.
Dairy. Couldn't get enough.
He couldn't get enough. He would always wake up and say, "Where's my glass of 2%?"
So dairy, is this what you want to talk about?
Yeah.
I think we can talk, if you want to dovetail between the two. I say I'm open to paradox. I'm open to all things being true. But yeah, I can talk about dairy all day.
I'm sort of all in on dairy.
I'm like, get over it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're
To
like, get over
yourself
dairy.
Or to us.
I need everybody to
get over it.
settle in and sit down and ask yourself what dairy's really about for you.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
You're coming at it from an anti-dairy standpoint.
Well, I have my issues, as I think people do with the stuff. I think it's absolutely delicious, but I just think it's usually like what's the word I'm trying to say, where it's like something a lot of people fall back on when they're not great at cooking. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's an interesting point.
It can be used in an artful way. I'm not saying like dairy is like obviously this is a contentious point. People love dairy. They'll fight in the streets, talk about, politics.
Of course. Well, also, but I see what you're
dairy.
saying. It's like, put cheese on something. It'll make it taste
done.
better.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy.
This is very apparent in sort of Midwestern coded like Thanksgiving food, where it's like, it's like a green bean casserole. You're like, all right, so we're eating literally cream cheese
which
and pre-grated mozzarella cheese.
Yeah. I don't have any I'm not arguing that dairy's not delicious, that it's not game-changing, that it's not, and sometimes innovative. Sure. I'm just saying, why are we holding so tightly onto it as a food?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're saying it should be a treat.
I guess so.
You're saying you can have a little dairy as a treat.
You're saying it's overused?
I'm not trying to... I think it's over-relied on.
Yeah.
I think it's over-relied on.
And it's almost, I do think maybe part of this is we have pushed it to its limits. I say this as someone who loves cheese. There are too many types of cheese. There's no reason for there to be not to be against diversity and inclusion, but when it comes to dairy, I am.
And we've also used it when you just made that point, Branson. I was thinking about how you see these TikTok videos and it's a burger with a mac and cheese top and there's cheese on top of it. We're using it in a pornographic way
it's
now.
Gluttonous.
Well, by the way, cheese is inherently insanely sexualized. I mean,
deeply.
The way it's made, the way it's produced.
You're milking
it's disgusting.
You're telling me you milked tits for this cheese? You're telling me tits made this cheese?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You grow a cucumber on a vine. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't milk a tit for a cucumber.
Yeah. I'm not.
I mean, am I crazy?
Yeah. Am I crazy, or are you milking a tit for this dairy? That's what I'm wondering. And it hurts almost everybody's stomach. A lot of people's stomach.
And we're milking tits to hurt our stomachs.
We're tit after tit. We're sitting down by the side of the tit and pulling down.
And we want more?
Yeah, and we want curds and whey. You're telling me you want curds and whey? Where do you get off?
Perverts?
Yeah, pervert. And you want to separate everything? I don't know.
No. Well, the thing is, in the gay straight binary that we work within, I actually do think cheese sometimes does lean queer because it's so
wine and cheese
gate kept. You can't appreciate this, you don't have the
like it's elegant
and it's expensive and it's like
pinkies up. It's pinkies up.
But you can't do that without cheese. That's what I'm asking.
How do you do a charcuterie board pinkies up style without cheese? Jams,
little toasts.
Little toast. You can try like tinned fish kind of vibes. You could try. I also hate to say it, love vegan cheeses, but maybe that we have to call that into the question.
Well, we do have to call that into the question.
We do.
Well, and vegan substitutes are like, it would be hack to just be like, are queer. And yet it's true.
And yet
it's true.
Things are hacked.
I will say,
true.
I'm very open to vegan substitutes. I do try to watch how much meat and dairy I eat. And yet I do think the one thing I struggle with is dairy substitutes. I would so much rather have like a veggie burger, an Impossible Burger.
This feels like a hegemonic conversation. You know what I mean? People are always like, I don't like you can't find a cheese that works.
I'm just sort of like, again, I'll do seitan. I'll do, what's the other one? Tempeh. Like I genuinely like all that stuff. I like vegan baked goods. I'll do a vegan like banana bread, whatever. But I'm like, if I can't have normal cheese, whatever, I'll have something else. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of that's how I feel about milk too. I'm like, if you want me to give up milk, I'll give up milk, but I'm not gonna put literally like melted oatmeal in my coffee.
That's fair enough. And sorry.
No, I'm Team George on this one.
Okay.
And just to, create more tension in the room.
He's on my side.
And I want to say before, Sam, you absolutely go off. Both of you said dairy's a great topic.
but no, it is a great topic.
It is a great topic.
Well, I sometimes feel like I'm like me ordering like coffee with whole milk.
Yeah.
I actually feel like I'm being like I'm like Pete Buttigieg putting on like a deeper voice. Like when I'm like whole milk, I'm like, yeah, but you thought you've had me all figured out.
Oh,
But
okay.
actually whole milk.
But isn't that
sweetheart.
in a conversation with like heterosexuality?
100%. That's why it's a
Yeah.
good topic.
Yeah.
It makes me feel masculine.
Yeah. Because it's being pulled from a tit?
It's one
Well, it's, I mean,
because when I'm
yes.
getting whole milk, I'm literally pulling the tit and I'm getting milk in my coffee.
And you do the raw. You
As
do that.
Sam says, are the tits back there? Can I go? Can I go?
Can I pull a couple?
Can I go?
He goes in a blue bottle and he says, "Are there any tits back there?"
Are the tits back there?
Can I quickly go
Can
back
I get my
and pull
hands
the
on a
tit?
couple?
So yeah, I'll get whole milk, but do you mind if I just pull the tip myself?
It would be so much easier for me.
Oh.
I will say I'm not like advocating for some sort of like everyone has to have like soybean oil instead in their coffee.
No. This isn't
just
about
think
ethics.
it's-
This is about.
Thank you for saying that. Because I'm not arguing ethics today.
No.
I'm not arguing ethics today. I'm arguing 4, 2, 3, 4 eyebrows.
Yeah. So.
A lot of dairy in Pacific Rim.
Do you want to switch to machines now?
I want to derail this podcast, blow it up from the inside out. There is a cheesecake scene in Pacific Rim. I'm making it up, but there is a way all this can converge and break you too.
I was thinking
look
of
forward to
cheesecake imagery because Sam and I both together sang the Nicki verse from Monster when it came on the club the other night.
Wow.
And there's that famous part where she says something about
Pockets full of cheesecake.
Pockets full of cheesecake, which is so just cinematic
Beautiful.
and
Yeah.
like, just
Yeah.
a gorgeous image. And
couldn't happen without dairy.
couldn't happen without dairy.
Couldn't
She
have
couldn't
without
be like, oh, I had like vegan
That's
pumpkin
an
bread.
amazing point. If Nikki's Monsterverse wouldn't exist without dairy, I'm willing to walk out of here saying I was wrong. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't even care if you notice, say my name right, if you notice my blowout, you know what I mean? Like, I will walk it back.
Wow. I do think that dairy has politics in a weird way.
Oh, 100%.
Intensely.
Intensely has
A
A
politics.
glass of milk at a dinner.
That's a speech in itself.
I just won the Republican vote by saying that.
The RNC is shooting their AKs in the air.
Yeah, I mean a glass.
That's what they do.
It's so dairy, generally speaking, is so. Even though cheese. Well, here's the thing: each individual dairy product is gay, sort of. It's like
Yeah.
cheese is gay, like
Yogurt.
yogurt. Oh my God,
Yeah,
yogurt! Can
yogurt
you
is
imagine?
deeply
It's like
queer.
the most queer thing you can have.
Yeah.
But then dairy as a whole, it's like, don't take my guns and don't take my dairy.
Yeah. When
Like,
you see a big Swiss cheese cartoon.
Exactly.
What are we talking about there?
Or it's like having a big, I could see like Tulsi Gabbard having a big glass of milk and
Every
being like,
day.
they want you to have oat milk? Well,
Yeah.
I love waking up every day and having a big glass of whole
yeah,
milk.
it's easily politicized and it's a weird symbol for like virility.
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
But I'm saying it's destroying most people who drink it and the
Right.
people who are like, no, not me. You know, that's
Well,
interesting.
I mean, it's very,
against your interests.
Jenny Holzer protect me from what I want because it is,
Mm.
as is most Republican politics, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Most Republican politics have a Jenny Holzer quote that you can go back to.
It's very protect me from what I want.
Yeah.
But yes, I think, and in fact, we have talked about how heterosexuality is self-destructive. It's almost like working towards your own destruction,
I mean, annihilation.
annihilation,
Which is-
self-immolation.
Yeah,
And that's what you're doing with dairy via, farting.
exactly. Via farting.
Via farting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it doesn't do anything bad to me.
Really?
Really?
Let's talk
Nothing.
about that.
Wait, that's
Nothing.
shocking to me.
Yeah,
But what
Like,
does
you can
do
just
some-
eat as much dairy as you want and it doesn't have any impact on you.
not that I know of.
Not
Well-
that you know of?
I will say, Sam,
when you
not
say
to
as
put you on
much
the
dairy
spot,
as you want,
not to put you on the spot, but you
Here we go.
you do openly talk about
Stomach problems.
Stomach
Constantly
problems.
being in pain.
That's the old me.
That's
the old me. Yeah.
This is Ron Glass right now saying, Ron Glass is saying,
That's the old me. I don't talk about my stomach being upset anymore because my stomach is not upset anymore.
Oh.
I've got it all figured
how?
out.
How?
wow.
I time.
You time it?
You time it.
That's not how it works.
I'm
Sam.
on more fiber than
that'll do it.
some towns in Minnesota. I'll tell you that much.
And how's that? So, okay.
And that's pretty much it. That's the
Yeah.
big secret.
What kind of fiber are we talking?
Well, I do.
It's for gay men.
Well, I do two. I do
Oh.
Benefiber at night,
Oh.
and then I do Pure for Men in the morning.
Oh my God,
Okay.
you must be squeaky clean.
Oh my God, it's heaven over here.
Incredible. I'm jealous.
Wow, yeah, same.
Yeah,
So, okay.
it's hard to move on from that.
It's hard to.
I wanna say- I just-
I'm like, where am I?
I want to say, I feel like the fact that there are so like, think of the phrase dairy alternative. It's so baked into our culture right now. The fact that dairy is defined against things that are alternative is why it's so hegemonic and why it's so straight. It's like
Yeah.
dairy is the default. And then if you're like a queer alt haircut, grad student studying the feminist theory of care ethics of Pokemon, then you're like, oh, I'll actually get the alternative. I'll get oat milk.
Exactly. It's the line between modernity and post-modernity.
It's 100% the line.
Dairy
between
is on the line. Where
Dairy-
it's like dairy in the past, no one cared.
Yeah.
Dairy
Yeah.
now is dairy.
Yeah, there's
Am I Truman Show dairy?
yeah,
You know
dairy
what
is
I
a
mean?
floating signifier.
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. But here's the question, though. Actually, I mean, here's a huge topic.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Machines.
Milk as mother to baby. Milk as, like, breastfeeding.
Yeah. That's straight. That's pretty straight. That's pretty straight, George.
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
pretty straight,
It's
George.
straight, but it's also sort of like, talk about like bionic.
Well, it's like there's
yeah.
almost like a mythology.
Exactly.
sort
You're
of
being like a Greek
spiritual-
goddess or something.
Yeah.
Certainly.
yeah,
certainly.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
the divine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
I
and
would
there's the
say-
divine.
I would say
And
like
then there's the divine.
I would say
which I
bottle
haven't
is straighter than breastfeeding.
got- bottle. Yeah, I guess
Bottle.
Yeah.
There's so many factors that contribute into
Totally.
breastfeeding that I hadn't taken into account when I brought up this topic. But
It does complicate things.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think dairy is like an elastic theme, and it's an elastic topic. It could go
Oh,
on forever.
100%. Like a beautiful brie.
Yeah, like a beautiful brie. But then there's also nacho cheese. You know what I mean? Which is when I'm coming in here saying nacho cheese.
jalapeno poppers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like pre-grated cheddar that you put in a quesadilla when you're in
Frito-Lay
Sigma
cans.
Chi. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the Bastion.
Beer cheese.
Beer cheese.
Whoa.
I should have said beer cheese.
Beer cheese.
Yeah.
So you're still undecided on the topic?
No.
Should we switch to beer?
Beer cheese? Should we start over? Okay, podcast starts now. We're here with Kelly.
Hi, guys. Hi.
So what topic did you bring for us today?
Well, my wedding's in a month, and I've been planning what we're all going to have at the reception, and I really thought it was weird how there's this thing called beer cheese that my fiance has been telling me about, and he's a gamer, and
Professionally?
no, but he said we should have beer cheese, babe, at the thing, and I was like, but I don't know what that is, babe, and he was like, you're so stupid.
Yeah, he's always
Yeah.
he I mean, I don't want to obviously
He's
it's
hard on me.
it's
hard
he's
on you.
I
Well, 'cause
know
he believes in you.
right. Well, I know it's months from the wedding and I of course wouldn't want to put any doubts in your head.
And you guys are coming.
Of course.
Yeah, what day
we'll
is it
be
again?
there.
12th? It's the 12th.
It's the 12th.
It's the 12th.
It's the
Right.
12th. Yeah.
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 I sent out the RSVP, so.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
we'll be there.
there.
Hopefully all will go according to plan.
And I really hope, because I'm doing a big procedure before.
You're performing a surgery right before?
No,
On
just a
yourself.
little
Oh.
tune up.
Oh, you're doing a little tune-up? You're getting the eyebrows?
Yeah, just for my wedding.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to. Again, I don't want to. You're engaged. Obviously, you're going to marry him.
Yep.
But
You're made for each other, of course.
The way he talks to you sometimes
He's joking.
Okay. I mean, I felt like when he said, "I won't marry you unless you undergo the procedure
For the eyebrows.
for the eyebrows, because I am not going to have a wife who is not snatched."
Do you guys listen to Pink?
Yeah, we like
Yeah,
Pink.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, to answer that, I would just say, so what?
I'm
I'm still a rock star. I've got my rock moves, and I
Don't you want to be with someone who makes you feel like a rock star?
Wow. Kelly, so you brought machines to us today.
Yeah, so your topic is machines, Kelly?
Yeah.
And you did that because you wanted to impress your fiance who loves machines?
Yeah. I just saw Pacific Rim, and it was the coolest shit I've ever seen.
He makes you watch it every day.
I have volunteered to watch it every day after him forcing me to watch it every day. So it's not all black
Right.
and white.
I can even see the fact that your voice is changing because you want to impress him.
Nope.
No.
Love
You
the
love
Gunthers.
You love the Gunthers.
The Gunthers.
Those are the machines.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. I actually want to pull back. I do want to say, if you, Amy Zimmer, were to have done Pacific Rim,
Let's go back.
what sort of were you
Thinking.
wanting to talk about if we were to have done Pacific Rim as the topic?
So, in my mind, you've seen it. George hasn't.
Yeah.
It's a huge studio action movie.
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro, who I love. The whole thing is about, monsters fighting robots.
Uh-huh.
And the robots fusing with the consciousness of men, which I felt like was the topic I was interested in discussing. There's a huge component of it where it's like, in order to fight, all the worlds come together, and in order to fight, our consciousness must fuse with the machine, which I feel like is so
It's a masculine dream.
Yeah,
to be
it's like
fused with
to
machines.
consider merging consciousness, it has to be with
yeah.
a machine.
Totally.
It has to
Yeah.
be with like, it has to be with a wrench. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not like with a person or with an animal or with a flower. You know what I mean?
The goal of the straight man is to be machine one day.
Well, 100%. I mean, it's like that's why
Look
there's.
at us. I mean, look at this.
I mean, look at where we are.
I mean, look at us.
I mean, look, we're part machine.
Apple VR.
Apple VR, Chat GPT, Poppy, that pop star,
Beer cheese.
Beer cheese,
Look,
little
well,
Michaela.
Yeah. Is that so crazy? I
No,
feel
that's
like-
a great
no,
topic.
that is a
Listeners,
great topic.
listeners, are you with me?
No, that would have been amazing. And I'm glad that we even explored it slightly
Yeah, me
because I would have not been able to sleep tonight
I wouldn't have either.
knowing
honestly.
that we could have talked about Pacific Rim and not knowing what it would have been about. So thank you.
Yeah. And you're welcome. And George, do you feel like you know more about Pacific Rim?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, going in, I said this. I thought it was a Michael Bay movie. I thought it was like just lowbrow trash. I had no idea it was created by an Academy Award-winning filmmaker.
Well, something that people always say about Pacific Rim, which I would have talked about, but we didn't.
I guess
that
it is sort of a
timeline.
meme, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like people do talk about Pacific Rim.
They're always like, but the thing is, it's good.
Right. Okay,
You know what I
interesting.
mean?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it's not good,
Yeah.
but it's kind of, well,
Well, there is something interesting about a big studio movie clearly meant to be sort of dumb, but then made by someone who has more to say. Do you feel like there was...
yeah, I think there definitely was, but I think the overlap is man becomes machine.
Right.
You know,
I see.
it was cool. It was fine. It was fine.
Okay.
I love cheese and I love machines.
Yeah.
Cheese in the machines.
Well, you're pointing to the issue with the dairy is that it became problematic the second it was industrialized and like created and produced at scale.
Exactly.
Without machines, it would be ethical to eat dairy. You would just have a cow in your backyard and
Exactly.
pull those tits yourself.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Tell you what,
And
if
in
I was
some-
making my own cheese,
Oh my
it
god,
would be horrible. I would be making the
I
worst cheese of
I gotta
all
agree
time.
that I don't
Sam,
think-
after
I
knowing you
don't
a
think-
long time, I have to agree.
Yeah, I don't think you would be good at making your
You
own
would
cheese.
make some of the worst cheese I've ever heard or smelled.
Yeah.
Or tasted.
And the thing is, I would still eat it, and I'd be like, "It's I don't care.
And you'd be convincing everyone, like, it's fine if you don't want it, but
Yeah.
I'm going to have it.
I am gonna have it because I made the cheese
'Cause I
myself.
made it.
So I'm gonna have it.
Yeah.
It's bad, but I'm gonna eat my
Yeah.
cheese.
And
Yeah.
you would be chill about it, but it would ultimately become this thing among your friends where everyone was like, "Fucking cheese again." Like,
Sam's
it's like,
bringing out the cheese.
He doesn't like actually. It's not like he cares, but like obviously, what are you gonna do? Like everyone go there and no one eat the cheese?
Well, it would be like he's like in his 30s. How has he not learned how to make his own cheese yet? Like
Yeah.
we've all been making our own cheese our whole lives, and he still can't figure it
Yeah,
out. Like
it's-
he needs to sit down and think about it.
And then you'd be like, whatever. It's all the same. Like it all goes in the same hole, comes out the same hole. It's all cheese.
Yeah, it's all cheese.
Is it all cheese?
Say that.
Is it all cheese?
Is it all cheese? That's what I'm asking all of you today.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Here's something insane.
Tell me.
Let's just see if this tracks. Something straight about dairy is that it works to put itself into little boxes. It's like it was milk, but now it is cheese, and it's not like it's more like free form than that. It's like
Yeah.
no, this is cheese now.
That's a yogurt.
Yeah, this is a yogurt.
If it's thin, it's a yogurt. If it gets any thicker, it's a custard.
Yes,
And this is a cheese. This is a hard
enough
rind.
with the labels.
Yeah, hard rind.
Okay, but
yeah.
there are those midway points where it's like something is moldy, but then it turns into a moldy
Well, we're not talking about
cheese.
mold today.
We
mold
are
is
not
deeply
talking
queer.
about mold.
Wow, I have never been so shut down so quickly. All these things turn into one another. I mean, it's a very flowy, like,
George,
spectrum-y.
shut up about mold. George,
Do you hear yourself?
we're trying to have an intelligent discussion. And you're talking about
And you're saying
mold.
it's mold?
What? Like, this is in such bad faith.
And I've been losing my mind.
You guys know nothing about dairy.
I've been sitting here losing my mind.
Kelly got a blowout for this.
Kelly, your nose is
Yeah,
bleeding.
I know.
And this is literally basically you standing up at her wedding and being like, I
You
object.
think I wanted to do this?
Well, by the way, I do object because I think her fiance is an asshole.
Hey.
He's joking. For the last time, he's joking when he says that.
It's a bit. He's funny.
It's a bit.
Wow.
Creme fraiche.
Let's talk about it. How fresh is that creme?
I mean, how fresh can it be? I got it at the supermarket.
It's in plastic.
I mean, literally.
You guys hear about this stuff?
You guys hear about this stuff?
They're doing
Creme
two
fraiche.
eyebrows, folks, and they're talking about creme fraiche. We're saying, how fresh is that creme?
Oh, so you hear about this creme fresh?
I'm asking how fresh is that creme?
How fresh could that creme possibly be?
But my friend comes over the other day. He says, I got creme fresh. I said, if your creme's fresh, then what the hell's my creme?
And you know, these younger people, they don't want you to talk about it. They don't want you to say it. But the creme isn't fresh.
Wow. I almost think we should like
Wrap up.
do our final segment.
Oh shit.
Is that like toxic?
No,
No, it's not toxic at all.
It's just like kind of that time.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Amy, Kelly, our final segment. Do you want to explain it just like you did our first segment?
Sure. Hey, everybody, it's me again.
It's me again.
Once again, I'm experiencing high school bullying. It takes me back to a place I'd rather forget.
High school.
Don't interrupt her.
Hey, listeners, it's me again, and I'm here with our last segment. It's shout outs.
Yeah.
It's shout outs where we do a TRL style shout out. It can be about anything. Here's a fun fact about me. I really like the music played underneath it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys like this episode before we get into it. I really hope you all feel really good wherever you're sitting, if you're driving, if you're, meditating, if you meditate, because I'm not going to put that on you. But yeah, so I love you and I love you. Okay.
Okay, I have one.
Okay.
What's up, freaks, losers, and perverts? I want to give a huge shout out to Halle Bailey's part of your world. Oh my God. I saw The Little Mermaid. My expectations were on the floor. They couldn't be lower. And I am moved. I am getting chills. This girl is so talented, and I am obsessed with her. I watched it 3 times the other night. First, I watched just the part from the movie, then I watched the old one, then I watched the part from the movie again, and then I watched her sing it live at Disney World. And guess what? It's still good. Honey, I want to watch it all the time. It's getting stuck in my head. She can do no wrong, and it's making me listen to Chloe and Halle all over again, and nothing but love to both of them. XOXO,
Wow.
Sam.
Wow.
I'll do a music one too. What's up, intellectuals? I'm talking in a soft voice to denote being highly educated, and I want to give a shout out to Stephen Sondheim. That's right. As I've mentioned a few times on this podcast, I have discovered musical theater at the ripe age of almost 32. And after a lifetime of, by the way, being so cynical about it, literally thinking less of anyone who has ever been involved in musical theater production or has even sang a show tune at Marie's Crisis. And ultimately, I do still feel that people that are like that are bad. However, guess what? I think Stephen Sondheim is the exception that proves the rule. I think that it is literally an insult to him that he exists within the community of musical theater because he is so much better than everyone else around him. But at the same time, I actually think it's what works about it because he is playing with sort of this populist form, but creating things that are so nuanced and so and so complex and so interesting. And I think he should pretty much win the Nobel Prize for musical theater. Posthumously. And I want to give especially a shout out to the 2006 Company cast recording and Raul Esparza as Barbie. And also to sort of Googling Bernadette Peters Sondheim and then spending 5 hours clicking through every possible thing that comes up. And also I want to give a shout out to like discovering something late and then not having anyone to talk to about it because all your thoughts about it are so entry level that no one wants to hear them. And so you have to like find some sort of online community with other people who are discovering Stephen Sondheim when they're 32. Woo! Woo!
Wow.
Wow, that was powerful.
That was amazing.
Okay, wow. Okay, I have one. Hey listeners, what's up? This is Amy. I want to give a special shout out to, you guessed it, it's Kelly. She was right in the room with us, and we want to thank you, Kelly, for being here. I think your wedding is going to go off without a hitch. I think you should always stand up tall. I think do whatever you need to do to feel well. You're a conduit for all of us. You are sort of a supra-consciousness. We love you, Kelly. And also, I want to give a quick shout out to Aritzia. I just found out what it was. I just found out what it is, and I still don't get the vibe. What do these girls want out of these clothes? I am trying to figure it out every day of my life. What is Aritzia? How do we stop it, or how do we help it? Is it like mushrooms? Do they help the planet grow and heal, or is it a destructive force? What is Aritzia about? Shout out to you. Please let me know what it is. Thank you.
Woo!
What is Aritzia?
What is Aritzia?
I only know
idea.
Aritzia as like a punchline of a joke.
Yes.
That should have been my topic.
Yes.
But
Wait, yes, that would have been a good topic.
don't let anyone do it.
Okay,
we won't. We'll
dairy,
have you back.
machines, and Aritzia.
And Aritzia.
Maybe that's the title right there.
Okay, but what there's like no time. But
Let's do it quickly.
Okay, quickly in like 30 seconds. What is Aritzia? What are
I don't know.
Okay.
Episode done.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, wow.
Okay.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you,
What a
Amy.
blast.
Thank you.
And thank you,
Bye.
Kelly.
And thanks,
Thank
Kelly.
you, Kelly.
Bye.
Bye.